Of course, continuing the coverage of Israel's war with Hamas, the Israeli military has also carried out a new round of airstrikes inside Syria. It released this video on social media last night, showing strikes on what it says is military infrastructure. The military says the strikes were a response to launches from Syria toward Israel earlier in the day yesterday. Rebecca Collard is following this part of the story. She's in Beirut. And Rebecca, we look to that video and some of these indications as signs of further escalation along the northern border. So we will come back to the Syria situation in a moment. But I'd like to begin, since you are in Beirut, the situation in Lebanon, what appears to be changing tactics there. What's the latest?
Yeah, Heather, we saw a bit of a change in tactics, but also a bit of an intensification in these tensions along the Israeli-Lebanese border over the weekend. So, Hezbollah for the first time hit a residential area in northern Israel. Until now, they have really been hitting Israeli military targets inside northern Israel. So that was a bit of a change in tactics. And the other thing that we saw was Hezbollah shooting down, or saying anyway, that they shot down an Israeli drone almost 5 kilometers inside Lebanon, and they used an surface-to-air missile to do that. And that, I think, is also a bit of a show of new technology that they have. So I think that both of those things are interesting to watch, Heather. And in response, we saw Israel, strike farther inside Lebanese territory than we have seen over the last 3 weeks. And, until now, it has really been confined to this 2 to 3 kilometer radius from the Lebanese border. But we're seeing that move deeper into the country. And the other thing I'll say, since the beginning of this conflict, we have not heard from Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah. And a lot of people here are kind of asking why. Why has Hassan Nasrallah, who is known for these fiery speeches, not spoken yet? And, he is, of course, in hiding, fearing an Israeli assassination attempt, but he usually comes out with video messages. Now, yesterday, Hezbollah released this video that kind of shows him cryptically walking past this poster with the Hezbollah logo. And what we're hearing now, Heather, is that he will speak on Friday. So, of course, we'll be watching that as well from here in Lebanon.
We will indeed, Rebecca. Now back to Syria with, again, Israel saying it's responded to those launches from within Syria with strikes on Syrian military infrastructure. The Syrian news agency also reporting on this now. What have we learned to this point?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting here, Heather, of course, is we have seen over the last few weeks and really over the last decade, Israel carry out strikes on Syria. And usually those strikes target what Israel says is either Iranian military infrastructure or military infrastructure or weapons being transferred to Hezbollah here in Lebanon. Now, what's interesting about this is, it seems that these targets were actually Syrian military targets rather than belonging to either another militant group or belonging to Iran. And that is fairly uncommon. We have been talking about this escalation of attacks on U.S. bases, both in Syria and Iraq. But this idea that Israel likely struck a Syrian military target, I think, is a bit of an escalation. It's a bit of a change in tactics as well. And, listening to regional experts today, it's very unlikely that the Syrian army actually fired those rockets. Rockets fired from Syria into Israel are usually coming from militant groups that are allied with Iran. So that is quite interesting development as well, Heather.
Rebecca Collard, thank you very much. Yes, we will be listening on Friday, but we're also mentioning Iran, as Rebecca was, that the president yesterday saying that Israel's offensive has crossed the red lines, as he phrased it. Again, from leaders in that region, we continue to pay close attention.